My one jiu-jitsu tournament experience, I got destroyed right away.
Really?
Yeah.
They're probably a big dude in your division.
He wasn't big. He was like shorter than me, but like evidently much stronger than me and had much better technique than me. So it was a weird feeling because I was kind of expecting myself to feel sort of horrible about myself if I lost.
Yeah.
But then in the actual match, he was so obviously so much better than me that I really had no chance. And there was just absolutely no doubt the entire time that I was going to lose. I'm pretty sure I got tapped out in the first round.
What division was it?
Like beginner, I guess. I was a white belt.
Beginner white belt. What year?
2012.
Okay. Well,
something like that.
I mean, good for you for fucking competing.
Shoot box in Long Beach. That's where I was training at.
Yeah.
I got to get back into it.
Competing jiu-jitsu, it's a good learning mechanism for everything else in life.
So my thing is, I've thought, like, the one thing I really hated about doing jiu-jitsu classes when I did do it is that there were, like, women and like 16-year-old boys and like, there was like
that's what I love about it.
There was like other dudes who are like, there's like maybe one guy that was like my size that was like a reasonable match for me because like pretty quickly it became like, oh, I'm a white belt. I'm like better. I'm like at least stronger than like everybody else in the class. So it's kind of like stupid.
Yeah.
But when I think about jiu-jitsu now, I think I would like to just like do private lessons with a coach who's like could just like one-on-one just teach me shit and like work on shit.
That's really not the way to get good.
Really?
Yeah, because you need to roll against people who are resisting. It's sort of like in the NFL now. I know
my fucking coach, my black belt coach would presumably resist, right?
But he's stooping down to your
right.
It's like when you're talking to a child, you don't form real sentences.
Right.
But that's not a good analogy because kids learn English through people talking baby talk to them. But in jiu-jitsu, somebody that much better than you, you're not going to know which of your techniques really work because anything you get on your coach in a private when you're a white belt, he's giving you.
But I feel like I'm only after a superficial understanding of jiu-jitsu. It's not like I'm actually going to compete. So that would actually probably be all right with me.
The thing is the great thing about jiu-jitsu is unlike a lot of other martial arts, you can actually get an insane amount of reps using the techniques because unlike kickboxing or boxing, you're not risking brain damage when you spar. So you can get, like I've probably finished 10,000 triangle chokes in my time. So it doesn't matter how drunk I am, how much you cold cock me or like fucking blindside me in the street. If you are on top of me and I can get a triangle, my muscle memory is just going to do it and it's going to sink in. And I don't think you can get that muscle memory because it's one thing to know how to lock it up, but things aren't going to go perfectly when you try to apply your chokes in the street. And you need to know how to problem solve and diagnose what your opponent's doing and then adjust to correct.
But I like how you're acting as if there is actually some chance that you will end up using your jiu-jitsu techniques in the street. Or is that actually something that you're considering? Have you ever used it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. When I was in college, I got in a one-on-one fight with a bouncer in a parking lot.
Why? I'm assuming you were in the wrong?
No, well, it was mutual combat. So what happened was we were on a bus going to a fraternity sorority event. And there was one dude who was an ex-player on the football team who was basically bullying me the entire bus ride to the event. He was talking shit to me constantly, like telling me where I could sit or not sit. And I don't know he just thought I was some douchebag, stuck-up, privileged frat boy twat, which I am.
But you had a blue belt.
Purple.
Oh.
But come on.
Okay.
Purple belt at that time.
Okay.
So it was so, like, he knew he was being such a dick that when I got off the bus and said, hey, dude, should we settle this? Is there a problem? He wasn't like, what are you talking about, dude? What are you saying? He was just like, yeah, let's fucking go, motherfucker.
Wow.
That's the kind of energy that was transpiring between us. So we went to the parking lot of this bar. Everybody else would just beelined it for the interior, the drinks, the partying, the pussy. We're in an empty parking lot at 10 p.m. in Marina Del Rey. Me, the bouncer, and my buddy Matthew Charles Long, a.k.a. Cat Daddy. He's the referee. He's our Steve Mazzagatti. And what happens is, this guy is giant. He was like a linebacker on the football team. I clinch up with him, but I realized right away I'm not taking this fucker down. So I pull guard, which is like the number one street fighting no. They tell you in jiu-jitsu. Pulling guard.
Getting on your back with your legs wrapped around them.
Exactly.
Okay.
It looks like you're a bottom in an act of homosexual lovemaking.
And in the street, you're opening yourself up to his buddy running up and kicking you in the head or God knows what, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And also, if you're trying to pull somebody on top of you, they could slam you as you're trying that, and you could get knocked out. Right. It's the pavement. It's not a mat that you train on.
Rampage.
Rampage Jackson, Ricardo Arona, he famously slammed a guy who was trying to triangle choke him and knocked the living daylights out of the motherfucker.
Right.
But I'm down on the ground, and I managed to pull the guy on top of me. That's another danger. If he's on top of you and he doesn't go down and he starts just kicking you and smashing you from a standing position. But I get him on the ground with me. I quickly take his back. I don't remember how I took his back the first time, but I apply a choke, and he taps. And I honor the tap, and I let him go. I say, hey, man, let's shake hands. Are we done now? And he says, no, in fact, we are not done. No more of that jiu-jitsu pussy shit. Let's fucking box.
Right. So he actually tapped.
He tapped.
Wow.
And I honored the tap. And so I'm thinking, first of all,
once you honor the tap, right, you are supposed to be dead, effectively.
Yes.
Because, like, I could have taken your life right there, and I didn't because you tapped. You're not allowed to keep fighting me.
And that's why I had a completely different attitude in round 2.
Oh.
So in round 2, I'm thinking, well, first of all, I'm getting tired. And I've been working out my liver a lot more than I've been working on my wind ever since I came to UCLA, Liver King. And I was not in as good of shape as the true Liver King. I was a fucking bloated frat dude at this time.
Who is?
What's that?
Who is?
Yeah,
Nearly
exactly.
no one.
He's a fucking specimen. So I pull the guy on top of me again. I pull guard unprecedented 2 times in street hand-to-hand combat.
Right.
And I remember I was setting up my favorite position. It's called a 2-on-1 from close guard. The guy's on top of you, and you grab his tricep and his wrist, and you cross it so that it's on the same side of your body as his other arm. So essentially, his 2 arms are on one side of your rib cage, and then you crush your chest into his shoulder so he can't get his arms back. He's off balance now. He has no base to the right side of his body.
Right.
And I recognized that, and I started talking shit into his ear. I say, you know what you just did? You gave me a 2-on-1. That was my signature position when I was a jiu-jitsu competitor. The second, because right now, you're still holding on to my thigh. I can't use the sweep, but you're going to get tired, and you're going to let go of my thigh. I'm going to sweep you. I'm going to flower sweep you to mount. I'm going to unleash a barrage of punches, and I'm going to break your nose. I promise you that. That's how you're going to lose this fight. I was so pissed off that he tapped and then kept fighting. And sure enough, he lets go of my thigh. I immediately trigger the flower sweep, take mount, and just go off with a barrage of punches. He rolls. He turns over to his knees. I sink the choke. And he went to Slumberland that second time around.
Wow. Do you hang out to see him recover? Or?
I ran actually.
Like a true competitor.
No, it wasn't that I ran because I was a puss, but I was so fired up because there had been a lot of fights I'd had since I'd learned jiu-jitsu, but they always ended with a buddy coming in and intervening. They ended with security showing up. There was always something that kept me from ever actually dominating another man. And my very first fight ever, I got my nose broken and I got my ass kicked. So I was still 0-1, and I had not had an opportunity to get my record back as it should be. So I was going nuts. This primal bliss came over me, having just dominated another man. And I remember I was just screaming in the parking lot for like 30 minutes because I had prevailed.
I feel like I've learned a lot about you from this tale.
Have you?
But I used to fantasize when I was like training jiu-jitsu and shit. I used to fantasize about getting in a fight and actually using it.
Yeah.
And in reality, if I probably would have done it in a situation that was not ideal for it. That probably would have got me kicked in the head by his friend.
You got to be pretty aware. Yeah. Like most times aren't good times for jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And like a lot of times when I go on the No Jumper show with the boys,
you're ready.
They're like, They're like, yeah, you could fucking kick everybody's ass, right? And I'm like, dude, no, not really.
Just roll with that though. Like they believe that. They
That's
don't know
true.
anything about jiu-jitsu, so just let them say that.
They think it's like a fucking Asian martial art, and I think it's like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And I can like fly around the room out there.
Allow AD and T-Rail to believe that for sure.
Yeah.
This has been a clip from my new podcast, SledgeLords with Danny Mullen. We're dropping a new episode every week, so either hit the link in the description or search up the Adam 22 channel on YouTube. Appreciate you guys.